Is my playwright assignment. My first person I am talking about is William Shakespeare. He's very well known around the Renaissance era. Um, very famous for Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet. He's considered one of the best playwrights ever. He wasn't just a playwright, he also was an actor and a poet. So he was influenced through Greek and Roman classics growing up, even though it would have been illegal and could have been could have had consequences uh, through Catholicism. He embraced the Renaissance era, and he was the first to ever show his work through the Renaissance era ever. So in his plays, he used his religion and Catholicism, such as characters, for example, Friar Lawrence in Romeo and Juliet. He also used his knowledge of Greek and Roman classics in his style of writing, even though the Catholic Church may not have liked his texts. The other person I'm talking about is Oscar Wilde. He was very well known in late Victorian England. He had a very flamboyant writing style. It was different for that era. And he also was arrested for having sex with a minor, and he actually wrote about that. That's where he came out, and his life kind of fell apart after that. Going through school, he went through Oxford, and he fell in love with Greek and Roman studies. He used a lot of fantasy through his writing and stuff, and he actually wrote a story about a man in real life expressing his homosexuality. Right there, so the connections to the worldviews is he wrote a play expressing his homosexuality, and he wrote a lot about his imagination. It wasn't shy about contradicting topics in the real world. So some similarities between Shakespeare and Oscar Wilde was their influences of Greek and Roman writings. They expressed that throughout their plays and poems they wrote. Both were very famous. So, like I said, Shakespeare with Romeo and Juliet, and the play about the picture of Dorian Gray. Differences, they also were very different. Shakespeare was from an earlier time period, had very different influences in their lives. Shakespeare seemed like a more focused type of writer, and while Wilde was expressive in various different ways and didn't focus as much on his writing and just kind of went with the flow. And here is my works cited.